Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Bret Meester of the Bret Factor back once again with movie reviews. And tonight I am reviewing Trainspotting 2, also known as T2, which that's a stupid name. I can't believe they actually called it T2, especially when like the target demographic for this movie grew up with the real T2, and that's Terminator 2, one of the best Terminators ever made. So I was kind of like, why would you call your movie Transporting 2 T2? Like, I don't know. I thought that was just a dumb name for it. They should just call it Transporting 2, and that's it, Transpotting 2, and just be done with that. That's what they should have done. As always, we're in my empty apartment. It's a little later in the day, so this looks a lot darker. You get to see the Sith light for Star Warsness. So I got to work on my lighting system. Once I get this apartment all hooked up, I'll get my lighting all hooked up properly, and we'll be back to being golden, well lit, nice and actually look really dark today too. Like I tanned up today because it was a sunny day today. But that's not what we're here for. We're here for movie reviews for Transpotting 2. So I'll be honest, I've seen Trainspotting a couple times, actually, not twice. I saw it when it first came out back in the 90s, when I was just a wee little Bret, just a little dude running around on the streets and, having a good time. And I've seen it more recently, too, as an adult. I just saw it on Netflix or something like that. And I was like, you know what? I haven't seen this movie in like 20 years. I'm going to check it out. And I actually was curious because Trainspotting 2 is coming out. So I was like, okay, let's check it out and get reacquainted with these characters again. And so I go and see Transporting 2. I went and saw it Saturday, 4:55 showing, and no one was there. Like it was like maybe 10 people. And this was in I haven't been to this theater yet. It was like way at the other end of town. So I don't really know like the area and stuff. So it's like way out there. And it's super limited release. In Canada for some strange reason. I've talked to a couple other people who have like can't even find it in their city. So I was kind of lucky that this movie even came here, I guess. And I'm glad it did because I got to see it. And just to get it right out the hop, did I like this movie? Yes, I enjoyed this movie quite a bit. It was a good movie. It was good. It was really good. Like I really enjoyed myself. I wasn't expecting much out of this movie. I was just expecting to kind of just catch up with the gang. Like, where is like Renton and Spud and Big B? Like, what have happened to all of them? And the other guys too. Like, I don't remember all the characters off by heart because it's been a while, So I'm checking out my stuff here. And so, anyways, it was good. It was a good movie. So it pretty much picks up. Let's get right into the movie. Let's talk about the movie. So this is where spoilers will start, everybody. You got the time to just go away. But you can come back later. But if you want to be spoiled, let's go on the journey together. Let's go. I'll tell you a little bit about the movie. I'm not going to spoil everything, but I'm going to tell you a little bit about the movie so we can talk about it. So it starts off with Ewan McGregor's character. What's his face again? Renton. And it starts off with him just on a treadmill, and we get a flashback of him running away with the money from T1. I'm gonna call it T1 now. So we see him running away with his money from T1, and he's on the treadmill and he's thinking about that time in life. And there's a lot of things about this movie. Like to be perfectly honest, I think I figured like this demographic, who they made this movie for, was my generation. The generation that grew up 20 years ago and saw this movie for the first time. Were like, whoa, this blew our minds. It was like revolutionary film stuff at that time. And now we're 20 years later, and we're like, oh, what happened in that 20-year gap, and where are these people now? And that's kind of like that's who this movie's for. It's for us, and like, what did you do in your 20 years? Where did you go? What have you done? Have you stayed in the same city? Have you been a part of the rat race and the cycle? Did you ever leave? Did you do this and that with your life? Or did you just sit here and do more crack, right? More meth? Or did you actually get out? Did you leave the city? There's a lot of things in this movie that kind of just like actually kind of resonated with myself on a personal level, where I was just like, wow, I did leave the city. Like I left where I lived. I left my friends behind. We had a falling out and all that stuff. You know, as we got older, things happen, and like, you know, then I came back to the city, and no one, like, everyone was just like, who cares? You're back. And then I left the city again, obviously, because I'm in London now. But like, I totally was on board with like the whole character of Brenton and like his life going back and forth between, you know, running away and then having to come back to that city and being a part of it again. Like, I totally got it. So this movie has a lot of that about Renton and like dealing with his past, like what he did to his friends, who his best friends too, like what he did to them and how he screwed them over of the money. And you know, he meets up with his buddy. Oh Jesus, I can't remember his name right now. Oh, that's gonna bug me. It's not. I can't remember what it is. Is it Simon? I can't remember. I'm sorry, guys. Can't remember the other character. But he meets up with his buddy, and like craziness happens. Like, it kind of like, this movie like touches on everybody where they all are. Like, Bigby's in jail and he breaks out of jail. Spud is recovering from his heroin or meth addiction, but he's failing at it. Like, he's fallen off the wagon a couple times, and like, we get everybody's story. We figure out, I think it's, is it Stoddart? I can't remember if it is or not. No, it's not. Is it played by Stephen Robertson? No, I can't remember. I'm trying to find him right now because I'm kind of drawing a blank on it. I'm just like, who was his character? Because I don't remember him. I can't remember his name. I'm sorry, guys. A lot of me forgetting things. So yeah, we catch up with them, like each one individually, and then eventually their stories start to intertwine again. Ewan McGregor goes and saves Spud, like right before, because he was trying to kill himself. He was done with his life. He hasn't moved on. He hasn't done anything. He had he got in with a girl and stuff, and he had a job. And it actually, the breakdown of the whole him losing his job and everything else was kind of funny, because like, and that's the thing that's actually could happen to somebody where, you know what, you missed your time, especially in this. Like, I've been on I've tried to be on Labor Ready and stuff like that. And if you screw around with your time, sometimes they'll get rid of you. Like, they'll fire you. You'll lose your job, and then you're back to square one. And then you're back to like, oh man, I gotta get the EI again. Gotta get on welfare again. You know, trying to do better for yourself. But if you fuck up, you fuck up. So you gotta watch out for that stuff. You know. I want to say too, one thing about this movie before we really get into it. Man, it hit me in the feels a lot too. A lot, because it brought back, like, they do a lot with the like, they bring in some T1 stuff and they just intertwine it within the movie and stuff. And I've heard some people complain about that, and it kind of maybe like the way they used it, I thought they used it quite smart, because and like, maybe these people haven't lived on the earth long enough, you know, but there's always those instances where you're in a certain place or a certain moment in time when you've been there, and you're like, you pause for a minute, you reflect, and you're like, damn, I remember something very specific about this area. And like, the one instance, Spud comes out of a boxing gym because he's trying to find a new addiction to get off of his old addiction, which is kind of what Renton is teaching him. Like, hey, I took up running to run away from drugs, kind of thing, right? So he comes out of the boxing gym, Spud does, and he recollects the time that the gang's running away from them was mobsters, right? And like, we've all been there. I've been to different places in this world, in like a city or something, and I'm like, oh man, I remember the stupidest shit I did here, you know? And it's like a legit thing, and you kind of just fade back into that memory for a minute. You're just like, man, I did do something stupid right here, you know? And that's kind of how all the callbacks to T1 are like. And it actually, like, it kind of made me smile because it was smart. It was really smart. And I want to say too, like, the soundtrack actually brought me back to certain moments in time. Like, they would start playing like oh geez, I can't remember, like Iggy Pop's Lust for Life track came on. There was a couple other not Chemical Brothers song. I'm kind of drawing a blank on the song name itself, but it just, like, you would hear the vocals or like the chords, and you're just sitting there, you're like, oh man, I totally remember 1995 Trainspotting 1 or whatever, and just going back in time when you watch that movie, and it's hook you there. The movie is definitely an adventure for those of us who have, like, lived it, you know, who, and I'm not saying like lived the UK experience of like growing up in that kind of a world, but like, I mean, when I watched that movie back in like the 90s, 94, 95, and it just made me think about what I was doing when I was a kid, growing up and like being with my friends, being on the streets, doing stupid things. You know, it just kind of made me think back to that time, especially when certain music was hitting. I was just like, God, man, I remember doing this and that, and it was a weird nostalgia trip in this movie for me particularly, and I enjoyed it. Like I enjoyed it so much of this movie, and I don't know if it's because it made me think just about some history of my own life, or just history of my life with this movie and like things that I've done when I saw this movie and things like that. I don't know if it was that or the music took me there or the story just hit me in a certain way, but it was like, yeah, you know, I totally get everything going on in this movie. I totally get it. And yeah, it was a good movie. Oh man, they hit me, they hit you in the feels too. Like I don't want to ruin the whole movie. I don't want to talk too much about all the ups and like, oh man, they hit me in the feels twice with the Tommy stuff. Because if you watch the original, Tommy, if you watch the original, here's a major spoiler, so get ready for Tommy. But Tommy is the character, Ewan McGregor's character. Renton sells his first hit to Tommy, and Tommy was like straight edge. I believe he was like a pro, I want to say like rower or something sports related, super smart, straight edge guy. But he wanted a hit. I think he wanted the drugs so he could stay up later to get more shit done. So he takes his first hit and like Renton sells it to him back. This is in T1, and Tommy gets AIDS. Like he gets hooked, he gets AIDS, and then dies. And it's such a sad moment in that movie. Like that when that happens, you're just like, damn, you know. So they touch on it in this movie too. You see like little Tommy in the opening sequence, and that was kind of sad because it just kind of made you just remember like, oh my God, I can't believe that. And that was just a nice note that they actually put it in there, like, hey, we didn't forget Tommy. And they referenced Tommy a couple times in this movie, yeah, like at least 3 or 4 times, and there were all pretty sad moments. And then they even reference the baby. If everyone who's watched T1, who's watching this review right now, you know the baby scene, and that was a freaking upsetting scene, man. That scene still sticks with me after 20 years. And they reference it in this movie, and it's harsh, man, because like it's truth. It's truth. She should be a young woman right now, and she's dead. And like it was a deep cut on that, and I was like, damn, I can't believe you guys are going all the way with this thing. And it was good. Like it was good. It was just a good movie. I guess that's the story. I don't want to talk too much about the story, but eventually Spud, like I don't want to ruin it. Eventually Spud starts writing. He just starts writing about the adventures that these guys have been on, which is technically like a reference to the books that these movies are based on, which is, I believe the first book is Trainspotting, and the second one's Porno. I've read both of them. I haven't read Porno in like forever. Actually, after watching this movie, made me want to sit back and go and buy Porno again and just read that book again, because I was really foggy about it. And this movie combines a little bit of Trainspotting, the book, and Porno in this movie. They could have easily just done all Porno and just done that, but they touched on little things for it. They could make a T3 which touches on more what happens in Porno, and then add more if they wanted to. If they really wanted to, they could easily do a T3. So yeah, Spud starts writing the memoirs in a sense, and yeah, he just starts writing the memoirs of the stories of like everything that happened to him. And then there's like another side story going on about another screw job, which ties into the first movie's screw job, right, of the $16,000 or whatever it is. Now this one has another screw job in it of $100,000. There's a lot of similarities between T1 and T2 in this movie. There just is. So some people I could see saying, hey, it's a retelling of the same story, but that's just one undertow of everyone screwing each other, as always. It's just like, I think it's a theme of this franchise, is this like, you never got out of the city, you didn't change, you're still looking to screw and hustle people, and even if you left the city, you didn't figure out how to change. You were running from stuff, you didn't figure out how to change, you didn't figure out how to grow as an adult, you just ran away. And as a consequence of this, shit happens again, and you're going to get screwed this time. Now it's your turn to get screwed. But like that's pretty much the whole movie. Like this backstabbery, great music, great music. The soundtrack on this movie is just as good as the first one. I like the first soundtrack a lot more. Obviously, it was a very pivotal time of music, but this is like great. It's also a great soundtrack. It's really good. Yeah, I highly recommend everyone go see this movie. If you haven't seen T1, watch it before you go and see it, and then go and enjoy T2. You could probably watch T2 without watching T1, but the funny thing is like when I left the theater, there was a couple guys behind me, and I was walking a little slow. I walk slow in general, dudes. So I was walking slow, and the guy behind me was like, I didn't get it, but I liked it. And the guy he went and saw it with was like, yeah, you probably had to see T1 to understand some of the things in there, which I get, because there is a lot of similarities and references to the story as well, and it was good. Like I liked it, but I get that guy's point where he didn't kind of get it. So go and see T1, just download it. I think it's probably on Netflix still. Just go check it out. What else do I want to talk about this movie? That's pretty much it, really. It's a good movie. I really enjoyed it. I think everyone should go and see it if you can. It was in limited release in Canada. It's probably the same in America, and the UK already had it 2 months ago. So if you get a chance to see it, try and see it this week, because I'm pretty sure it's not going to be in the theaters much longer. Because we got what do we got coming up? What's it called? Fast and Furious 8's coming out, so it's probably going to knock one of those. Like Transporting 2 is probably not going to be around another week. If it is, you're lucky. So try and see it. Yeah, go see it on a cheap night if you can. It's good. Other than that, that's it for the review. I hope this was a good review for you guys. I kind of sat on this movie because I wanted to think about what I wanted to say about it and just talk about it. But I don't know. I don't know. There's a lot about this movie I really enjoyed. So hopefully you guys feel the same, or if you don't, you know what, leave a comment below. Tell me how I'm doing. Give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Again, comment, like, subscribe, follow, spread the word to everybody. And that's really it. The next movie I'm going to go and see is, oh shoot, what's it called? Hold on, I got it here. No, I don't. I don't have it here. I had it. What's it called? Hold on, guys. What is that movie called? Going in Style is the next movie I'm seeing. I'm going to try and go catch that on Tuesday and maybe get a review up Tuesday night. We'll see. But I'm going to go see it on Tuesday. And hopefully it's good. It looks better than Smurfs, but we'll see. Other than that, I hope you guys all enjoyed this review, and I will see you guys soon. Thanks guys for watching. Peace out, and have a good work week, and watch for the Sith Lord. Oh wait, Star Wars The Celebration is coming up too. I'm not going to talk about it, but you know what, enjoy that too. All right, peace out everybody, and this is where it ends. All right, kind of look like Steven Seagal today. Yeah, peace out guys.